Yahoo everyone, this is Oregu's channel and welcome to a new video. If you watched my previous videos, you might know that I'm learning Japanese. There are several challenges one can take as a Japanese learner, and one of such challenges is the so-called JLPT, the Japanese Language Proficiency Test, or in Japanese, Nihongo Noryoku Shiken. This test can be useful if you want to work in an international company, or even if you plan to work in Japan. Or also if you want to study abroad in Japan, for example. Last year, I also took a JLPT test, and in this video, I would like to share my experience with you, and maybe also give you some personal recommendations. I hope you enjoyed this video, and with that being said, let's go! So, first of all, let's start with some general information and facts about JLPT. JLPT has 5 levels, from N5 to N1. N5 is the basic and the easiest level, N4 is elementary level, N3 is the intermediate level, N2 is pre-advanced level, and N1 is advanced level. Yeah, and the level that I took was exactly in the middle, the N3 level. As I said before, N3 level is the intermediate level, and let's take a look at some key points that this level includes. Language proficiency. JLPT N3 assesses your ability to understand Japanese in a wide range of everyday situations and contexts. It covers both spoken and written language, including conversations, newspaper articles, and basic literary texts. Vocabulary and grammar. At the N3 level, you're expected to have a solid grasp of intermediate level vocabulary and grammar structures. You should be able to understand and use a wide range of common expressions, idiomatic phrases, and grammatical patterns. Reading comprehension. The reading section of the JLPT N3 tests your ability to read and comprehend longer passages of texts, such as newspaper articles or short essays. You should be able to understand the main ideas, infer meaning from context, and recognize implied information. Listening comprehension. The listening section evaluates your ability to understand spoken Japanese in various contexts, including everyday conversations, announcements, and narrations. You should be able to follow the main points of a conversation, understand the speaker's intentions, and infer information from tone and context. Writing and speaking. While the JLPT primarily focuses on reading and listening comprehension, the N3 level also requires some ability to express yourself in writing and speaking. You may be asked to write short essays or responses, as well as participate in simulated spoken interactions. Overall, achieving JLPT N3 certification demonstrates that you have a solid foundation in Japanese language skills and can effectively communicate in everyday situations. It's a significant milestone for learners who are working towards fluency in Japanese and opens up opportunities for further study, work, and cultural engagement. There are various recommendations how long one should study in order to be able to pass the JLPT N3 exam. Some of them say that it takes from 700 to 1100 hours of studying, while others say that it might take up to 1700 hours of studying. In my personal opinion, there is no ultimate formula how long one should study, but it's more about how you are studying. When I decided to take the JLPT N3 test, I had been studying Japanese for over 7 years. However, I think I should mention that not all this time I was studying Japanese intensively. First, I finished 3 Japanese classes, and then I was studying Japanese by myself, and also, for example, by chatting with tandem partners and Japanese friends. And I also practiced speaking with some of my language exchange partners. And then I started studying Japanology, and after a year of studying Japanology, I took the JLPT N3 test. And after deciding to take the JLPT N3 test, I was preparing for the exam for about 2 or 3 months. When it comes to the exam preparations, there are several materials that you can use for studying. On the internet you can find a lot of exercise books that you can use for studying for JLPT. There are also some applications you can download if you want. However, most of the applications that are made for preparing for JLPT you usually have to pay for. One of my friends who is studying for JLPT right now is using an application called Migi JLPT. But my personal recommendation is this book. This book is called この一冊で合格する means that with this one book you will pass. And as someone who used this book for studying, I can say that you can really pass if you study with this book. In this book you can find all types of questions and tasks that you also most likely will have to do when you take the JLPT exam. In addition to that, in this book you can find all kanji and kanji words that you need to know. It also includes all the grammar that you need to know, and after each grammar section you have some exercises. So yeah, I definitely recommend this book to everyone who is thinking about taking the JLPT N3 exam and is looking for some good preparation materials. And now let's talk about the exam itself. The exam that I took place at the Volkshochschule Stuttgart on the 3rd of December 2023. The exam took part in December, however I already had to register for this exam in July. And in my case, it was important to register for this exam fast, because the number of participants was limited and only 300 people could take part in the exam on that date. So I downloaded and filled in the registration form for the JLPT on the same day when it became available for everyone. And on the same day I also sent it to the school where the JLPT test was scheduled. About 2 months later I received a letter from that school that confirmed that I can take the JLPT test. In this letter I also received a number, and this number was also important on the day of the exam. The exam itself takes quite a lot of time, so on the day of exam you should not plan anything, at least until the evening. Since I took the N3 test, my exam contained 3 sections. And these sections are language knowledge, that includes vocabulary and grammar, reading and listening. The first part of the exam included the vocabulary knowledge, and we had 30 minutes for this part. The second part included grammar and reading, and for this part we had 70 minutes. And for the third part, listening, we had 40 minutes. And I think after each part we had about 30 minutes of break. Now let's take a look at how the tasks from each section might look like. Let's start with the first section. As I said before, the first part is about the language knowledge. To be more precisely, about vocabulary. For this part, you will have 30 minutes. And in this part, you can obtain up to 60 points. So let's take a look at how the tasks in this part may look like. The first type of the tasks is where you have to pick the right kanji reading in hiragana. Here you have a sentence and the kanji you have to pick the right reading for. So let's take a closer look at the sentence. 冬は寒くて外に出るとが赤くなってしまう. This sentence says that it is cold in winter, and if you go outside, something ends up becoming red. And you have to find out what it is. Is it mimi, hoho, hana, or kao? The second type of task is exactly the other way around, and here you have to pick the right kanji. And the word you have to pick the kanji for is written in hiragana. So let's see what this sentence says. Suzuki-san wa minna ni yasashiku te seikaku ga ii. And your task will be to pick the right kanji for the word 性格. The next type of task is where you have to find out which word is missing. Like in this sentence, there is one missing word and 4 possible answers. テストの点が良かったのでが上がり母に褒められた and you have to decide which of the words is the right one. Is it 進学 or is it 成功 or is it 成績 or is it 進歩? In the next type of task, you have to find the right synonym. You have a sentence with an underlined word and you have to find the right synonym for this word. この本はほとんど読み終わっている. You have to find the synonym for ほとんど. Is it 初めて? Is it 十分? Is it 大抵? Or is it きちんと? And the last type of task in the first part is this one, where you have 4 sentences with the same word, but only in one sentence this word is used correctly. In my personal opinion, this is the hardest type of tasks in the first part. And while taking the exam, I felt like I might get the least points there. Here we have the word 影響 and 4 sentences where this word is used. However, only in one sentence the word is used correctly. We have number 1. 広い部屋で大きい声を出すと声がよく影響する. Or is it number 2? 疲れている様子の家族に休んでほしくて旅行に行こうと影響した. Or is it number 3? 彼のピアノの影響が素晴らしいので感動して泣いてしまった. Or is it number 4? 大好きな歌手の影響を受けて高校生の時に初めてギターを買った. Let's move on to the second part and take a look at how the tasks in this part look like. This part includes the grammar knowledge and the reading comprehension tasks. This is the part you get the most time for, 70 minutes. However, one should really not underestimate this. And so, let's take a look at the possible tasks. A possible task may look like that, where you have a sentence or a short text and you have to fill in the correct grammar. Here we have a short dialogue between sensei and Ito-san, who is probably a student. And the sensei asks, Ito-san, 家族とは何ですか? And Ito-san answers, 私のすべてです。どんな時も私のことを応援してくれるからです。Here the sensei wants to know what family means to Ito-san, and Ito-san says that family means everything to him or her, because the family always supports him. Yeah, and one has to decide what is the missing grammar here. Is it number 1, を中心に? Is it number 2, について? Is it number 3, の通り? Or is it number 4, にとって? Another possible task may look like this. Here you also have a sentence and 4 words, but here you are not expected to pick one missing word, but you have to bring the 4 words in the right order. And here you can also see a star. In this sentence, the star is placed on the second position among the missing words. And that means that you will have to pick the word that you put on the second position. So here you have the words number 1, としても, number 2, たとえ, number 3, お腹が, and number 4, ペコペコだ. First you have to put these 4 words in the correct order, and then you'll have to look which word is on the second position. And this will be the word that you will have to pick for the answer. And let's take a short look at one of the possible reading comprehension tasks. There is actually not so much to say about it. You will get a text that you have to read, and then you will have to answer the questions about this text. So yeah, I would say it's a typical task you can find in various language tests. Another possible reading comprehension task may look like this. You will get a text with information about an event. Like here we have an event called Ohanashi-ai, and below you have a question about this event. So if one wants to participate in this event, where should one go? Yeah, so tasks like this may also be in the second part. Moving on to the third and the last part of the JLPT N3 test. And this part is listening comprehension. And for this part you will get 40 minutes. During this part you will have to listen to tasks and questions on a CD, and when this CD ends, this part will be over. I briefly show you 2 task examples from part 3. Like in this example, you will get some tasks where you get the question
and 4 possible answers in written form. And like here, you will have to pick the correct statement about the text. Another possible listening comprehension task is where you get a picture, like here, and to each picture you will get to hear 3 possible statements, what could be said here. And you will have to pick the most appropriate one. Here you should listen carefully, because you won't have all the statements to each picture in written form. In each part, you can reach a maximum of 60 points. So in total you can get up to 180 points on the test. There are 2 requirements you need to fulfill in order to pass. The first requirement is to get at least 19 points in each part, and the second requirement is your overall score should be at least 95 points. If you manage to fulfill these 2 requirements, you pass.
Yeah, these were the most types of tasks that you can have on the JLPT test. Maybe I should also mention that in the reading and listening part, the tasks may also vary a bit, but so this is a general overview of how the tasks on the JLPT N3 exam look like. After the exam, I felt like most likely I should pass, but failing is also possible. But luckily, I managed to pass. Around end of January of this year, so about 2 months after taking the test, I could see my result online. And on the 1st of March, I still remember the date, I got the certificate. So if you take the exam in Japan, or maybe in Korea and China, you might get the result faster, but I think if you live in Europe, or I don't know, maybe in the US, it may take some time until you get the result and the certificate. All in all, I felt that the JLPT N3 exam is feasible, however, you still should take it seriously. To be honest, in some part I kinda had the feeling that I might get like 0 or just a few points there. The part 1 definitely should not underestimate is the second part, because the second part of the exam includes grammar and reading, and you have just 70 minutes for it. And I actually did not manage to do all the reading tasks properly, so as the time was running out, I just tried to guess. Maybe it's not the best advice, but if you don't know the answer, or if you're running out of time, then yeah, just guess. I mean, yeah, you won't lose any points on that. And on the other hand, the part that surprised me most, but in a positive way, was the listening part. Funny thing is that this was the part that I practiced the least, however, I got the most points on that. To all the viewers who are planning to take the JLPT test, I'm wishing good luck and ganbatte. And I would be glad if you share your JLPT experience in the comments. Please let me know in the comments how you imagined the JLPT test, maybe what surprised you in both positive and negative way, what were you most satisfied with, and if you like, you can also tell me how many points did you get, but you don't have to, it's just if you like. I got 103 points. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I also hope that this video helped you to get an overview of how a JLPT test looks like. So that's it for today. I hope to see you in the next video, and bye bye!